Look, there's the Black Holocaust. I knew it was prophecy. 1,000 times worse than the Jewish atrocities. Uneven playing field, there'll never be a fair score. Cause in 1619, that's when they declared war. We the 12 tribes, the ones that the promise reached.
Okay, first and foremost, I want to say Kol Halal, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. That's all praise to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And this is Officer Yajadiah from the Dallas camp. And I wanted to basically I'm going to keep this short, pretty short. I'm about to start getting back on my sit downs now. I just moved into my new apartment. But I want to keep this short. Basically, I want to go into Deuteronomy 28 and the reason why the Hebrew Israelites go out on the highways and byways and come out first with Deuteronomy 28 with our people. The reason we come with that first is because that is the Israelite DNA test, man. In short, it's the Israelite DNA test. Because Israel will be subject to these curses. Because it'll be upon thy seed. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get that. See, yeah, this is Deuteronomy 28, verse 46. And they shall be, this in context of the curses. Matter of fact, I'm going to just read 45 and going into it. Moreover, all these curses, see, curses being the key point of this. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power. So all these curses will come upon Israel if they didn't obey the commandments, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder upon thy seed forever. So these curses will always be upon Israel as long as they stay under, as long as they continue to rebel against the Most High's commandments. There should be a sign. What do you see when a sign tells you what the thing is? Just like you're driving past McDonald's, before you see the actual establishment, you see the big old sign like the golden arches. So that's how you know who Israel is, because these curses will be upon them. So let's go back. And this proves it right here. It's Deuteronomy chapter 30. I'm just going to read down. And it shall come to pass, when all these things come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, the blessing and the curse. Where's the blessing and the curses located? Deuteronomy chapter 28, the whole chapter. The blessings being in verse 1 through 14, and the curses being 15 through 28. So this is literally Deuteronomy 28. I'm going to read it again. And it shall come to pass, when all these things come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, in Deuteronomy chapter 28, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahweh thy power have driven thee. So you're going to call these you're going to call these in your mind wherever you are, whether you be in America or you be in any nation, man. And how is that going to happen? By the prophets out there that the Most High puts the Spirit on to go and teach the people. Because we've been discontinued from our heritage. We've been discontinued from our laws and discontinued from who we are. So that's why the Most High God had to bring out the prophets and put the Spirit upon them to bring Deuteronomy 28 to our people, man. So you can see and you can have visual proof of who the children of Israel are, man. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because you can evidently see the curses upon them. Even to this day, man. Evidently. Let me get that. Let me get this real quick. Let me see. This is Jeremiah 17 verse 4, going back to proving what I'm saying. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. What is your heritage? Going back into your land, going back into your culture and your laws. We got discontinued from all that through the transatlantic slave trade and various captivities that we were in. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. You can see that with the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. For thou hast kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. And how do we do that? By not hearkening unto the Most High God's commandments, which he said would happen in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. Let's go back and get that to prove it. And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. That's how we kindled a fire in the Most High's wrath, man. Because we did not want to follow these commandments. That's why we went into various captivities. So let's go back. We're going to call, let me read this verse again. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahweh thy God hath driven thee. And how is that going to happen? How are we going to call, how is Israel, the so-called Black, Spanish, and Native Americans that are scattered abroad throughout the world, basically at this point, how are they going to get that to be called upon, called in their mind? How's that going to happen? That's going to be through the prophets. The prophets that the Most High God raises up to teach our people, the disenfranchised of our people, by bringing Deuteronomy chapter 28 to them, to show that they're Israel. It says, and verse 2, and shalt return unto Yahweh thy God. So after this happens, after they, as a matter of fact, let me keep going. And then shalt return unto Yahweh thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thy heart and with all thy soul. So after this happens, after Deuteronomy 28 is brought out to them, and there's evident proof that they descend from the 12 tribes of Israel, then they're going to realize, hey, salvation's for me. Hey, I need to start keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. I need to listen and come back to my God. So after all that's proven, then they're going to have reason to come back to this word. Then they're going to return to the Most High. Then the elect is going to be sealed. And to prove that, next verse, that then Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity. What does turn thy captivity mean? That means to save you from this captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations. Gather thee from all the nations. So no, the northern kingdom isn't just in Africa. Northern kingdom and the southern kingdom has been scattered through all the nations of the world. So the Most High God is going to gather us from all nations of the world, man. Whither Yahweh thy God hath scattered thee. So wherever we're scattered at. If any of thine be driven out unto the uttermost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy God gather thee. Wherever we're scattered, the Most High God is going to gather us. When we realize we descend from these people, start keeping these law, statutes, commandments, and elect is sealed, then we'll be saved from these outermost parts of heaven, man. From the people who hate us, from the people who continue to oppress us to this day. That's why you have churches. That's why the so-called white man and the other nations set up these churches to keep us outside of the laws, so we stay in the curses. So they get made the head and we get made the tail. Because when we start keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, they're going to be the tail and we're going to be the head. We're going to be exalted above all the hills. Israel. Let's keep going. And Yahweh thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, proving that it's not a spiritual Israel. It says, wherein the land which thy fathers possessed. Israel possessed this, not the other nations possessed that land. Israel possessed that land. And thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh will circumcise thine heart. How is our heart going to be circumcised, that new covenant, when we're made perfect and won't be able to sin? Because we're going to walk in the law, statutes, and commandments, whether we want to or not. Matter of fact, let's get that. I got 2 precepts on that. This is Ezekiel 36, verse 24. Let's just jump right to the point. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries. Going back to Deuteronomy 30 again. We're going to be saved from all nations and saved from the heathen out of all the countries. And will bring you into your own land, Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. That's the circumcision of our heart that he's going to do to us when he gives us the new covenant. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart, see, he's circumcising our heart. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh, and I will put my spirit within you. He's going to put his spirit within us, so we won't be able to go off anymore. We won't be able to be subject to the curses anymore. Because how are you subject to the curses? Because you break the law, statutes, and commandments. So this is how our kingdom will last forever, because we won't ever be able to be brought into subjection again. That's how our kingdom is going to last forever. Back on point. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. He's going to cause us to walk in his statutes. We won't be able to go after our lust anymore. We won't be able to go after sin anymore. We won't follow a multitude to do evil anymore. We won't have that option anymore because we're going to be made perfect. He said, I will put and as in perfect, I mean whole again. We won't be able to go off anymore. We'll be blameless, absolutely blameless. Let's see. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them, and ye shall dwell in the land that I gave your fathers, saying the exact same thing Deuteronomy 30 is saying, proving it's a prophecy, that I will give to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God, and I will save you. Matter of fact, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. These are possessive nouns, proving this isn't for all nations. I will also save you from all your uncleanness, and I will call for the corn and will increase it and will lay no famine upon you. That's pretty much the point on that. So let's go back. Matter of fact, let's get the new covenant while we're here. Let's get the new covenant while we're here. Let's see. Let's get this. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31. I'm just going to read down. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them. See, this right here too. I'm not going to just speed past this. Let's start again from the top. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So you'll have a Christian say the house of Israel is the church, and the house of Judah is basically the Jews, or the fake Jews that are over there in so-called Israel right now. That's their breakdown. So let me show you how that's not going to work, because it's not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers. So if this is the church, and this is all the nations outside of the so-called fake Jews, how is it going to be not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers? He didn't make that with their fathers. He made this covenant with the actual Israelites, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Cut, man. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt. Cutting them again. Because who did he bring out of the land of Egypt? Done. Which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith Yahweh, I will put my law in their inward parts. That's him circumcising our heart, him giving us a new heart. He's going to put that law in our inward parts, so we won't be able to break them anymore. I will write the laws in their hearts, the circumcision of the heart, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the proof, and here's a cut. I know somebody's going to be in the comment section. Here's a cut saying because I know they're going to be in the comment section saying we got the new covenant already. Okay, if we got the new covenant already, what is this going into? Verse 34. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor. I'm teaching right now. People teach right now. There's Israelites teaching probably on the streets right now as I'm editing this video. So if we have the new covenant, why are people still teaching? I'm gonna keep on going. And every man his brother saying, know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them. And even a Christian will have to admit, not everybody knows the Lord. That's another cut. Saith Yahweh, for I will forgive their iniquity and remember their sin no more. So that's going to be the new covenant. Once we get redeemed, and he puts the new heart in us and circumcises our heart and gives us gives us a new heart and the new covenant, then we're going to be made fully perfect at that moment. And that's only going to happen. That's the only way that's going to happen is the elect is going to have to be sealed by the prophets going out and giving Deuteronomy chapter 28 to our people and waking them up and showing them that they're an Israelite. So let's go back to Deuteronomy 30, because after this, because right here verse 1 talked about us giving them Deuteronomy chapter 28, the blessings and the curse, and they call that into mind. Then they're going to return to Yahweh. So let me get that. Where was that at? Yeah, verse 6. And Yahweh thy God will circumcise thy heart. That's giving us the new covenant. And the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. That goes into ethnic vengeance, man. All the nations who did evil and wickedness to us are going to go into captivity, which is in the curses, and they're going to deal with all the curses that we have been subject to, man. Their life is going to hang in doubt. Their children are going to go into captivity. A yoke of iron is going to get put upon them. All our enemies. And who's our enemies? Let's go into who our enemies are. So I'm going on tangents, but I mean these are precepts to the point anyway. Let's get Psalms 83. Let's see who our enemies are. Let's see. Psalms 83. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head, because they're proud. They know if they cut off Israel from being a nation by taking them away from their heritage, all the curses are going to be brought upon us, and they're going to be lifted up as a people. They have taken, verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. That's Israelites. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. They did that. They stripped us of that in the captivities. That's why we have to bring out Deuteronomy chapter 28 to show that we are the people who are subject to these curses. We are the people that descend from the actual Israelites. Because we were cut off from our heritage. We were cut off from our namesake. And all these nations did this to us. Let's keep going. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Who is that? Who's chiefly number one? The tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white man. Chiefly, man. So when people want to get on and say, oh, y'all just get on the white man all the time. Yeah, we get on the white man all the time because they're our chief enemy. That's why they're listed up first. But they're not the only one. All of them who did this are going to go into captivity. All of them who devoured Israel are going to go into captivity. Now I'm going to get that. Actually, I'm going to get that after this. The tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white men, the Ishmaelites, the Arabs, the Moabites, and the Hagarenes, the Gebal and Ammon and Amalek are just all of our enemies, man. Almost all these nations, almost all the nations, man. And even this first Maccabees, let's get that. Let's get that, actually. Because what nation haven't had a part in our destruction? What nation hasn't had a part in actually cutting us off as being a nation? First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 10. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? What nation hasn't cut Israel off from being a nation or got over on Israel? Even unto this day. So they're all going to have to go into captivity. The curses have to be brought upon them. Let's get that in Jeremiah. Because it's not just we get on the so-called white man, but it's not just the so-called white man. All the nations have to go into captivity. Jeremiah 30, verse 16. I don't like Bible Hub. This is not me. Let me see. Okay. This will work. Let's see. Jeremiah 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour these shall be devoured. So all nations, not just the so-called white man, all nations shall be devoured that devoured us. And all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And when is that going to happen? When the elect is sealed and when the prophets come out there and wake them up. Therefore sealing the elect, so we can be saved, so all the prophecies at the end times can be fulfilled. The mark of the beast can come out. The race wars can start. So everything can jump off, because we've been teetering on World War III. We've been teetering on the edge for a while now. And the only thing that's going to knock over all that last domino, to just knock over all the dominoes really, is the elect to be sealed. And the only way we're going to do that is by going out to our people and teaching them. Not sitting behind a keyboard, not talking mess on Facebook, thinking you know more than the camp, but you don't teach anybody. You're just on Facebook, just on meme scholarship. People who actually hit the streets. Let me finish this out. Every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil these shall be a spoil. And all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So all the nations are going to be for a prey to us when we're established on top. When the mountain of Israel is established on top of all the other mountains. So let me finish this out, because I didn't go on like 4 tangents. Let's see, where was he at? That's pretty much it on that. Let me read 7 again. And Yahweh thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. That's pretty much the point. So Deuteronomy chapter 28, the blessing, when we show the blessings and the cursings, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to come out with Deuteronomy 28. Everybody wants to say, just give them the gospel. The good news, the gospel being the good news is you descend from the people whose salvation is only promised to. So yes, we're giving them the good news. That you descend from the 12 tribes of Israel. So you descend from the mighty kings, man, and the princesses. That's the good news we bring out to Israel. That the Most High God chasteneth us, so he deals with us as sons. And you descend from those people. That's the point I want to get to on this. That's my overwhelming point. So with that, I want to say, Call Halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and say Shalom.